This is pretty sad news. Viral tweet. Again, this is from Twitter. You know, Warner Bros. Claims they're gonna phase out Blu-ray and DVD beginning in 2022. Yep, this might be the beginning of the end for Blu-ray and DVD and physical media as we know it. It only I thought it was gonna be Disney that was gonna do it first, but Warner Bros. Doing it first. Even though they said, Warner Bros. Said they would not. It was not Warner Bros. It's not a company that said physical media was important, but a report is that claiming that Warner Bros. Is intending to phase out physical media. Beginning in 2022, the comments from animation historian Jerry Beck singles out Warner Artsy went one step further and are coming to the home entertainment options plan wide. Again, while Beck is not a representative, is not he actually isn't a representative of Warner Media, so this guy is probably full of crap. Because again, there's a lot of people who still buy Blu-rays and DVDs. Collectors, especially for steelbook collectors, are going to be very pissed if this is true. Okay, there's a lot of people collect Blu-rays and DVDs to get the steelbooks. And now you can't get the steelbooks anymore because Warner Bros. Is going to be a big pansy and not release movies on Blu-ray and DVD. We all know that for the last year, Warner Bros. Blu-ray and DVD releases, the movies they have released have been pretty lacking, especially when it comes to animated movies, especially. Not really, like for example, their priorities when it comes to Blu-ray and DVD combos. Okay, the fact that Wonder Woman got the combo pack with Blu-ray, DVD, digital, got a 4K, but Tom and Jerry didn't, which is pretty odd to say at least. I bet Godzilla vs. Kong's gonna get the standard Blu-ray plus DVD plus digital combo pack. Meanwhile, Tom and Jerry is left in the dust. Same thing with Scoob and Tenet. Tenet got the standard, Blu-ray treatment, but Scoob basically got the safted Blu-ray treatment. Pretty odd when it comes to there. But I was thinking that Disney would be the one that would off Blu-ray first because Disney is basically trying to force everybody to buy Disney Plus, and the only people who have not bought Disney Plus yet are people who still buy Blu-rays and DVDs. Okay, unless they want, and even then, the people who still buy Blu-rays and DVDs of Disney movies, they likely only subscribe to watch the Disney shows on Disney Plus, like The Mandalorian and stuff like that. There, but according to Beck, that there's no plans for any classic cartoons for Blu-ray and DVD. As well. Includes Warner Arts, even regular Warner Video. We'll see some new releases for 2021, but those are planned out last year. Next year is when the changes will be felt. And basically, they're gonna focus on HBO Max. I think this is gonna be they are saying that the shift towards digital, especially during the virus, has been very real, but there's still a large market for Blu-ray and DVD. Especially in parts of the world where high-speed internet is not as reliable or universally used. Like America, there's a lot of parts of America where high-speed internet is not really that good. And Warner Animated Division sells hundreds of thousands of DVDs a year to Walmart alone. This free, of course, there as well, the classics, there. And of course, let's not forget there's two groups of people who still use Blu-ray and DVDs. People who do not have high-speed internet, which is mostly older people, people in more rural communities, where they even have worse internet than they do in suburban communities. And let's not forget the last group of people, which is the largest group of people who still buys Blu-rays and DVDs. Okay, which are the collectors. The collectors like me and a lot of others are still the largest group of people who still buy Blu-rays and DVDs. So I wouldn't be surprised if this is just a bunch of bullshit, because Warner Bros. I wouldn't be surprised by the end of this decade we see Blu-rays and DVDs completely phased out, but I think 2022 is too early. I wouldn't be surprised by the beginning of 2030 we start to see the phase out of Blu-ray and DVD in favor of streaming. And most of the Blu-ray releases are just intended for collectors as well, but they will be mostly sold on stuff like platforms like Amazon. I don't think physical media will be completely phased out, because collectors will still buy them. They'll still release steelbooks, because the collectors will be angry. There are channels that dedicate themselves. There's like tons of YouTube channels. It's now even a YouTube community of collecting movies. Of course, there has always been like that with games as well. That's the reason why they don't want to get rid of, physical games, because there are still people who could buy games physically, and there's still a large interest for buying a video game physically instead of digitally. Especially when it comes to collectors. That's why the PS5 digital edition and Xbox Series S are both flopping compared to the standard Xbox Series X and, of course, the standard PS5. And you've seen this all over the place. People, especially in the gaming community, are not ready for the digital shift. Yes, PC it happened, but PC and mobile are the only exceptions to this. Okay? And I won't be surprised if they do this, if they do carry on through this. Expect a lot of pissed people online. Okay, all the collectors channels will be angry. Probably will have their anger towards Warner Bros. There'll be people on Twitter who do collect movies that will be angry, or people with low connections internet. And there's also a third group of people who buy physical media. I forgot about the third group of people. People who avoid streaming because they know that streaming services censor movies. Okay, we all know they do. Disney Plus, of course, I haven't gone through the third group of people. There's a third group of people who do buy, streaming, who refuse to buy streaming because what they have seen, what Disney Plus is doing, they're censoring all these movies, all these classic movies and cartoons and TV shows, removing episodes of older shows. This mostly applies to older shows because newer shows, they are basically just trying to appease Twitter at this point. Same thing with newer movies, so they don't have to be censored for Twitter, and then of course there's a lot of classic releases that will not be released on streaming because they're considered offensive or horrible. For example, The Room and Kung Pao, two such examples of movies that do not have a proper Blu-ray release. Kung Pao is only available on DVD and Google Play Store and standard digital fronts. You can't really buy it. You can't really get it anywhere. Same thing with The Room. You can't really get it anywhere. It's a very, very hard movie to get. Same thing with Kung Pao. Because that movie would be deemed offensive by Twitter now. Okay, and we have a lot of for example, Gone with the Wind. In the Peanuts movie. People already getting it back. There's still a lot of people who are still against streaming. For example, you had the whole backlash to Paramount, Apple TV Plus of the Peanuts show. And I think they're still considering to see this. And there are people who are not going to move on to streaming. Or these studios saying the only way to watch our movie is to watch it on this one streaming service. I think people are not going to like that. Especially if it's like an old show that's been on TV for the longest time. And it is to say, if you can't watch it on TV anymore, you have to watch it on our service and only our service alone. And we've seen already last year a massive backlash against streaming services. Okay, HBO Max, Apple TV Plus are the two main culprits. And of course, Disney Plus with Splash, Apple TV Plus with, of course, the Peanuts holiday collection, and of course you can only view it on certain days. That's the worst part. You can only view it on certain days, And let's not forget the last one, which is of course Gone with the Wind, and the whole backlash against that. So a lot of people are going to be angry over this if they do continue with this, because again, 20 to 40 years in the future, so Twitter might find something in. Let's just say, for example, the Mortal Kombat movie offensive, okay, or wrong, or Sonic the Hedgehog is taken off of Paramount Plus because Twitter does not like it. So the only way you can watch it now is by Blu-ray. Okay, the only way you can watch it now because they took it off of Paramount Plus, or you're gonna have to buy it on YouTube, which is like $20 on YouTube, the same price. Because if you buy it on YouTube, it's actually much more expensive than it is on Blu-ray. So Blu-ray is a cheaper alternative, okay? And yeah, we're starting to see a backlash against streaming. But again, this guy is not the CEO of Warner Brothers. The CEO of Warner Brothers, and I wouldn't be surprised that this is for the and this has something to do with the Gone with the Wind backlash. Okay, they're gonna have to learn backlash. Okay, but I'm surprised that it's Warner Bros. First, not Disney, because Disney is basically trying to phase out physical media. They're not promoting, the Blu-rays anymore or 4Ks unless they want to, anymore. They don't really promote unless you buy Blu-rays. They're not really gonna advertise you the Blu-rays anymore. They're gonna advertise you Disney Plus basically every single time. They used to do that with all the movies, like Endgame. They advertised that for Blu-ray, but now they just advertise Disney Plus. You know, but again, Disney itself is just having a massive backlash against that. I already made an entire video about Disney. I think people are starting to be done with Disney, and ever since they bought Fox, ever since they bought Fox and ruined Fox, people are angry at Disney. Okay, for example, someone hates Captain Marvel because Disney sabotaged Dark Phoenix for Captain Marvel. Which I wouldn't be surprised if they did that. They sabotaged that movie to make sure Captain Marvel made the most amount of money. Same thing with Alita Battle Angel. Both of those releases was sabotaged by Disney through the deal so Captain Marvel can do well, which is a pretty scummy thing that Disney has done. Rushing out Dark Phoenix, so it can flop, so they can promote Toy Story 4 and The Lion King. They basically just threw Fox under the rug. Okay, we're gonna talk about Disney's horrible things they have done in another video. Goodbye.